this, I guess you would call it a gym of female degeneracy. These two women that are the definition of scorned women. They literally have a podcast where they pick a man who is objectively impressive and then they tear him down. You couldn't get a more crystallized embodiment of female resentment, of degenerate femininity and its resentment for objective reality. Now, normally I would just click off a video like this, but this is such a crystallized archetypal embodiment of degenerate femininity being truly and absolutely wrecked by masculine impressiveness that I actually think it's worth examining. I know a tremendous amount about Elon Musk. I've been following him since 2014. I have family members who have worked for him. I've met Elon Musk multiple times myself. I know a tremendous amount about him, but I've also been exposing the degenerate female psyche's need to tear down and deny objective reality. Because to the damage, degenerate female psyche, objective reality is oppression. And its embodiment in masculinity is also oppression. By the way, if you hear a helicopter circling overhead, it's a police helicopter. They're likely looking for an illegal immigrant who's committed some sort of heinous crime. I'm living in Los Angeles, of course, so just to fill you in on what that might be. In case you're wondering, oh, have the communists actually come for Abraham? Are they going to take him in? No, not yet. That's going to be in 2 more years. So anyway, it's rare you get an embodiment, and YouTube is obviously promoting this. A couple of degenerate women, of course, YouTube is going to love this because it's anti-reality, it's anti-objectivity, it's obviously pro-leftist. Proclivity to abiding left-wing authoritarianism is defined by a feminine temperament and low verbal IQ. So I'm really actually very excited to see and analyze the way that these women deny reality and express their psychopathology and resentment for reality embodied in competent masculinity. And when it comes to competent masculinity, there is nobody more there's no man more competent on earth than Elon Musk. This is the reason why it is so starkly revealing and interesting when somebody says Elon Musk is a loser or Elon Musk is not impressive, etc., or they try to tear him down, because at that point, you are openly admitting that you don't care about reality and you are at war with embodiments of objective impressiveness. All the reasons for that I will explain as we get into the video.
Welcome to another edition of This Fucking Guy, the series where we pick one fucking guy who's making America worse and explore why they suck.
Okay, so they're obviously leftist because all the men that they showed, one of them was not a man, are on the right, and so you immediately see the admission that the resentful female psyche is fixated with masculine men who are shaping the world, not in their worldview.
I'm Erin Ryan, host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Bro, there's a million things I can say about this. I mean, 65-year-old cat lady, bro. Why do all the women that hate masculine competence look like this? They're literally on a crusade to deny reality. Oh, guys, I guess Elon Musk is a loser. This woman's going to call him a loser. Oh, this is good. This is really good stuff.
The other host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
And as you can probably see by our setup, we are in person today.
The most special of treats.
Nothing that only straight men like is cool. We're going to dive into one of the best embodiments of the internet adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool. We will be
Bro, look at how destroyed her face is. How pathetic is that?
Into one of the best embodiments of the internet adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool.
The destroyed female psyche actually has a problem with masculinity, because masculinity is the apparatus for which a woman has a healthy connection with reality. Without masculinity, they start executing babies, they start bringing their toddlers to drag queen performances at the middle school, or they start podcasts where they call the most impressive man on the face of the planet a loser. This is because their failures and their psychopathology, their degeneracy, is judged ultimately by the same objective reality that deems Elon Musk impressive.
We will be looking into the life and times of the worst thing to come from South Africa since apartheid. A man who, despite growing evidence...
Dude, you're kidding. You're kidding. How I didn't know that they were actually going to say something like that. That's insane. You said Elon Musk is the worst thing to come out of South Africa. Okay, so here we have to acknowledge that a part of the leftist ethos, as it's made up in large part by the degenerate female psyche, is the need to invert reality, say the opposite of the truth. Saying the opposite of what is the truth is not just lying. Oh, there's that helicopter looking for the illegal immigrant again. When you say the opposite of the truth, you're not just saying something that is false. The inverse of what reality is. Elon Musk is the greatest human to probably live in over 1,000 years. Elon Musk is probably top 5 greatest humans to ever live. What he's doing for humanity is beyond words that you could say in an hour-long video. But these degenerate women are going to say he's the worst thing that happened. Pay close attention to the architecture of the female degeneracy. I'm probably going to skip around this video a lot to try to deliver to you guys the most crystallized examples of feminine degeneracy.
Adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool.
Okay, so within 30 seconds, hatred for men, hatred for straight men, hatred for masculinity, saying Elon Musk is the worst thing to basically happen out of an entire country, when he's objectively one of the best things.
In times of the worst thing to come from South Africa since apartheid, a man who, despite growing evidence that he's, shall we say, not in the headspace to control space exploration.
Oh, and this woman is. What? I mean, who's paying these people to humiliate themselves like this, right? I mean, you look like this, right? You look like this. And you just said Elon Musk is not in the headspace to run a rocket company. When governments can't accomplish what he's accomplished, you think that he's not in the headspace to run a rocket company. Oh, guys, we have to listen to the woman who's past the wall, beyond triggered at straight men, tattered sweatshirt. I mean, let's be honest, she's a 4, IQ double digits. The self-awareness actually doesn't exist. And the reason for that is because the left-wing ideology of Marxism proclaims that the individual identity doesn't exist.
So the internet adage, nothing that only straight men like is cool. We will be looking into the life and times of the worst thing to come from South Africa since apartheid. A man who, despite growing evidence that he's, shall we say, not in the headspace to control space exploration.
I'm guessing that these women don't have some sort of really deep-seated psychopathology against aerospace or electric vehicles. Maybe they do. I have no idea how actually destroyed they are. I'm guessing that they're upset at free speech, as many degenerate female psyches are, because as I said at the beginning of this video, proclivity to abide in left-wing authoritarianism, left-wing tyrannies, has been measured to positively correlate with a feminine temperament and low verbal IQ. So I'm guessing that's the reason why they are just losing their minds over a man saying, yeah, we're actually not going to abide by the left-wing tyranny that says you're a good person as a result of adhering to a group ideology and group membership, and you're not a good person as a result of being a victim. Because when you're a woman like this, I'm just going to go back to her face because I want you to like look at how destroyed this is. When this is your identity, when this is your life, you failed so many times, you tell yourself so many lies daily, that the only way you can pretend to have status and virtue is by calling yourself a victim, calling yourself oppressed by reality, calling yourself oppressed by people like Elon Musk. She's never met Elon Musk. She has no good relationships with any competent men in her life because she associates masculinity with oppression. This is how low IQ they are. They showed an image
that he's manufacturing communication.
Look, I'm sure this video is going to get worse in terms of like the disgusting blasphemies against utter competence that they're going to offer, but they're showing footages
or the biocontrol space
of like a rocket blowing up when he blows up rockets on purpose to test to the limit. Guys, if you didn't know this, the way SpaceX tests their rockets is, and again, I have family members who worked at SpaceX, so I know this. They test to failure every single time to see actually where the hardware meets its limit. So whenever these Elon haters, and it's so cringe to even think that they're Elon haters, because really you're just confessing that you hate progress, you hate humanity, you hate yourself, you're nihilistic, you're a leftist, okay. When they reference videos of rockets blowing up, I'm just like, okay, so you just don't understand what they're doing. So where's your rocket company at? Oh, Elon Musk has a rocket company that's worth $200 billion and you don't have one? Oh, he's took astronauts to the space station and you haven't? Oh, that's right. You're in a tattered green sweatshirt.
Space exploration, electric vehicle manufacturing, communications, or the biotech industry is still being trusted with billions in government contracts and essentially being allowed to man the levers of the financial markets.
Right. They're upset that Elon Musk, as a competent man, is being viewed as competent and given the reins and authority to continue to exert his competence and transform humanity. But I want to say this is actually very performative of her. They know that as degenerate women who are openly saying the opposite of reality and are embodying just pure resentment for competence and reality, they're not really changing minds. They are here to perform the it's sort of like a performative dance, a fake circus for the people who want to have the fodder, the propaganda to continue to hate reality. It's like the people that still watch CNN unironically, or the people that watch like leftist streamers unironically at this point. They're there to hear people lie to them. They're there to listen to people say the identity of, if you're a part of a leftist intersectionalist group, you have virtue and status even though you've done nothing, even though you're a loser in every category. Come on, let's huddle around this campfire and all complain and try to slander competent men to make ourselves feel better because they embody the way objective reality is judging us constantly. And you see it in her eyes. This is a woman who's been scorned. This is a woman who's had a lot to lose. And guys, all of this I'm able to analyze within literally a minute of this video going on. I can't even imagine like the continued train wreck that this would be if I watched the entire thing.
All while rage tweeting fringe conspiracy theories and cozying up to extremists.
This is the reason why the degenerate female psyche positively correlates with abiding in left-wing authoritarianism. Because, oh my gosh, it goes against the left-wing hive mind ideology, which tells me I can't think and I can't use rationality. By the way, Marxism literally says objective frameworks are oppression. Because it's aligned itself with postmodernism, which says there's no better and worse ways of interpreting the world. So anytime you say something that they disagree with, they just call it conspiracy theory, they just call it fringe, and that's the same as saying you're a bad person. Because in postmodern neo-Marxism, they don't believe in rationality or logic. So as soon as you use those things, you're automatically an oppressor. So what they're saying here really is that, look, Elon Musk says things we disagree with, he must be a bad person, therefore we don't have to listen to what he has to say. We are good people because we're more impressive than him, we wear tattered green sweatshirts, we're old past the wall, we're fours. The fact that he's literally the most impressive man in the world is literally just enraging to us, and this is the reason why they do this. I can't even imagine. Did they turn off the comments? They have to turn off the comments, right? Oh, they're removing comments. Damn, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, this is so weird. I just stumbled across this video completely by accident.
Of course, this is Elon. I never bought into the hype around Elon Musk. He always struck me as a weirdo who was...
She wrote that beforehand. She's reading off a tablet. This woman who's 5'5", gray hair, she's literally 65, is calling Elon Musk weirdo. Oh shit, guys, Elon Musk is a loser. This woman just called him a loser. Oh my gosh. Oh, what's your rocket company look like? Oh, that's right. Your kids don't even talk to you. Oh no! Guys, Elon Musk is finished. Look, I understand that since Elon is like the most popular, impressive man in the world, he's going to have fringe haters. I'm not doing this to bash his fringe haters. I'm doing this so that we can understand the architecture of the psyche that likes to say the opposite of the truth, because that psyche, that psychological makeup, is what defines so much of our modern culture. People getting enraged at objective facts. She's reading off a script. She wrote the words, Elon Musk is a weirdo. Oh, I have to play that again. We have to watch that again.
Elon. I never bought into the hype around Elon Musk.
I never bought. Oh gosh. Back in 2014, 2015, he was the most popular with liberals. He was so popular with women like this because, oh, he's saving the environment, electric cars. But then, as soon as he said, you know what, free speech is good, they're like, oh my gosh, logic and rationality, that's untenable.
He always struck me as a weirdo who was more full of shit than porta potties at the end of the New York City Marathon.
She wrote that down.
That's pretty full of shit. Elon Musk became...
Oh my gosh, yeah, Elon Musk. I just gotta, it's so funny. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Elon Musk, IQ of 155, richest man in the world, accomplishing things in aerospace that countries can't accomplish. He's full of shit, true. You're right, Becky, you're 65, childless. Oh, it's so good.
One of the richest people in the world by convincing enough people with power that he's a genius.
Oh, there it is. There. No. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, line by line there. Okay, richest person in the world. That's supposed to condemn him, right? Because capitalism is discriminatory. It's oppressive. They're obviously very pro-leftist because the men that they target, you saw who they target. They're pro-leftist, so they don't believe in capitalism. They think that it's discriminatory. And then the fixation on power, because again, in Marxism, the only thing, this is directly out of the ideology of Marxism, which states that the only thing that mediates relationships between people is power. And there you heard it again. He's convinced people with power to believe he's a genius. No, actually, he's demonstrated to people who care about objective reality because they live in the real world, like all those straight men which you despise, because they remind you that objective reality judges you. They find him impressive because he's actually objectively the most impressive person to debatably ever walk the planet. See that rocket behind him? No one's ever accomplished that ever. That's reusable. The United States government couldn't do that. That's a cooler rocket than the Saturn V, which took us to the moon. Oh, but to this woman, he's full of shit.
More full of shit than porta potties at the end of the New York City Marathon.
That's pretty full of shit. Elon Musk became one of the richest people in the world.
This is the definition of degenerate female psyches raging at objective reality. This is This is so, bro, have I just discovered a gold mine? Is this the epitome of female degeneracy that we've all been looking for in order to purely just vaccinate the public against the degeneracies of women hating reality?
By convincing enough people with power that he's a genius. But there's no there there. He's not a genius. He's not a scientist. He's not an engineer.
Yes, let's go. Oh, yes.
He's not
Dude, notice how every single thing she says has to be the opposite of the truth.
an innovator. He's a bullshitter.
He's not an innovator. He's not an engineer. Oh, it's so good. He's not. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I think. Okay. I don't even need to list his accomplishments. I don't even need to reference. Well, maybe I should reference. Obviously, he's lead chief engineer of SpaceX, of Tesla. When those companies were tiny, and even now, he is literally in the loop. Again, I actually know how it works. I've been to SpaceX. They have super small teams. Everyone reports to Elon. But the best part about this is that this woman is saying the opposite of the truth, slandering him, while not valuing truth at all. That's the interesting part here, is that there are human psyches willing to not value truth at all in order to play a completely different game than the rest of us, which is condemning people because they're not a part of the correct identity class. That's what we're seeing here.
There are so many instances of Elon exaggerating or flat out spinning tall tales about his own prowess, but that was hard to not turn this video
No, he doesn't. He's actually very humble.
into a sprawling limited series a la Shogun.
But we love a good scam, so let's learn about the
She's reading, bro. Let's look at the stickers on her thing. Pro weed cat, a cat sticker, of course. We see vote for Democrats, and we see rainbows. Yeah, of course. But she's reading these lines off of her tablet.
perpetuating scam that is Elon.
Strap in, Alyssa.
I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, it's so cringe. Who listens to this? Ah, it's so weird. Oh my gosh. Think of how destroyed you have to be to tune into this. As a degenerate woman, you've given up on reality, right? As a degenerate female who listens to this unironically, you've given up on reality at all. You've said, okay, I'm full into saying the opposite of the truth. There are people that have declared war on reality itself, on objective truth itself. This is just weird. It's weird that this exists. I truly don't think this happened like at any other point in history, and that's because women have never been in this terrible of a spot. This is the reason why the red pill is necessary. This is the reason why Andrew Tate's necessary. This is the reason why everyone who exposes the anti-masculine agendas is playing a critical role. Because this is what you get. You get destroyed women who are literally suffering. They're at war with truth, and we're not even 2 minutes in.
Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28th, 1971, to a wealthy family of fucking weirdos in South Africa. His mother was a Canadian dietitian and model who has appeared on cereal boxes and the cover of Sports Illustrated. He has a brother, Kimball, who was once set up with one of Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriends by Jeffrey Epstein himself.
References to group identity, never individual identity. This is because in Marxism, if you say this person's a part of the wrong group, they're a bad person. Because reciprocally, what gives them the right to call the most impressive, competent man in the world a loser is the fact that they're a part of the right group. They never need to ask themselves, oh, are we contributing anything? Are we doing anything? Are we good people? Are we telling the truth? They don't ask themselves any of those questions because they have everything they need in believing we are a part of the right group. So while being the most despicable, immoral, wretched people in existence, they call themselves inclusive, compassionate, basically the opposite of the truth. This is what we're seeing here.
In South Africa, cover Epstein's ex-girlfriends. Elon's father, Errol, a millionaire engineer who claims he's killed a few people, believe his own guy. Elon's dad divorced Elon's mom.
Okay, I'm going to skip forward to PayPal because I know a lot about Elon's history here going forward. I don't. If you guys want me to make a video explaining my childhood from 14 onward, which includes meeting Elon Musk multiple times and visiting SpaceX, etc., I can do that.
Because the belief that Silicon Valley is teeming with prodigies and visionaries and not just a bunch of assholes screwing each other over like bankers in sweatpants.
Okay, yeah, so this is here where we see the necessity to demonize all objective, competent masculinity because they are degenerate women who create no value. And I'm not saying that to bully them. I'm actually quite literally just describing what's going on here. When you are a leftist who doesn't believe in competence, because again, in Marxism, the only thing that exists is power disparities. There's no such thing as competence, which means that no one can ever be above somebody else because they're more competent than them. It's only as a result of oppression. When you believe there's no such thing as an individual identity, which means that you can't take accountability, which means you can't look at yourself and say, I should improve. When you don't believe in free speech, which means that you don't believe in logic, reason, and rationality defining the validity to an idea. When you believe in group identity, calling yourself a good person rather than deciding you must adhere to objective morality. You end up in a place where you are enemies with morality, with individual identity, with competence, with logic, rationality, and reason, and with masculinity. Because the masculine imperative is to transcend and conquer reality to build something greater, to move forward. That's the story of humanity. That's the story of male innovation. And that's the reason we live in this society that we do, in this civilization, instead of still in the caves. But the depths of this female resentment that we're seeing is so great that they would prefer we live in caves rather than men ever express their greatness, because greatness and competence and masculinity and individual identity and talent, exceptionalism, and every other attribute you could list that associates itself with male greatness judges the women so brutally for their insane reality denial that we get to a place where this actually exists. I'm flabbergasted. I've never seen a video like this in my entire life. I've never seen a condensed version of female degeneracy, like with old women that are literally complaining about, not just complaining, they're slandering Elon Musk for like 35 minutes. This is so, and saying the opposite of the truth. This is like a psychological study here. This will be reviewed in history for sure.
Is central to justifying the tech sector's very existence. First, let's get to Elon and PayPal. He did not co-found PayPal. He started his first company with some help from Daddy, sold that company to Compaq. Remember Compaq?
No, don't remember.
This is completely not true. His first company, Zip2, he did not found with his father. He founded that with his brother. So you already messed up there. But I actually think, and I'm being completely dead serious, I don't think they even believe in saying things that are true. I think they're completely fine with making things up, because they say the opposite of the truth so often that to them I think there's no difference between making things up as long as it demonizes somebody to put them in the wrong category. This is the reason why the left tries to create a post-objective truth society. We're seeing it here. It is born out of the mind of resentful, degenerate women. This is literally where it's birthed from. You're seeing it here. This is incredibly interesting. I'm kind of enamored with like witnessing this psychopathology here, because I know that this can be studied. We can all see like the birth of anti-truth before our eyes coming from their unhealthy minds.
Not at all.
Took the money he made from selling it and started a business called X.com.
Surely you can't mean the social media website formerly known as Twitter, or an early version of Tesla's Model X car.
This is so amateur. This is so amateur.
Or the company's X names. Boy, he loves the letter X.
Yeah, it's his favorite letter. No, this was an even earlier company called X. Can you guess from the name what it did?
Sell erectile dysfunction medicines to impotent men in red states?
No, good guess. It was an online...
Bro, what is going on right here? What are we literally witnessing? What are we Dude, is this how far, is this like how liberal old women exist daily? Is this just the fate of like divorced women? I mean, you're quite literally witnessing female psychopathology. Dude, what is going on? There's like police. There's like someone's talking through a megaphone from like a helicopter. I gotta see what's going on. Maybe the communists in the state have finally come for me. 1 second. Oh my god. Bro, I'm having way too much fun today. This is funny. I just talked to a cop outside. Apparently it's a guy that's being contained. He's got a knife or something. LA is just a great city, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, back to liberal women denying reality in every facet possible.
Erectile dysfunction medicines to impotent men in red states?
No, good guess. It was an online bank that somehow offered a product that was less good than PayPal, which I have to admit is an achievement because PayPal sucks. Point is...
Okay, it's not very interesting to me if this is just like complete low IQ slander of anything Elon Musk has created. I want to see them like say, you know, Elon Musk never founded Tesla, or his company SpaceX isn't revolutionary, right? Because as you're going to pretend like he's not a genius or he isn't revolutionized in anything, you quite literally have to rewrite history. You have to rewrite reality in a very Orwellian fashion. That's what I want to see them do in real time, because that's an admission that they're expecting their audience to not value reality at all. And that, I want to see that happen.
Like, no, they call the inner circle of early PayPal the PayPal Mafia.
Musk became CEO because he had the most money. But he was so annoying that eventually PayPal founder and Silicon Valley supervillain Peter Thiel found him too irritating to work with, and so he quit. Well, the board eventually took Thiel's side and ousted Musk and replaced him with Thiel.
Imagine being
Bro, what an interesting world we live in. A civilized world where everything is so easy, so soft, built by men like Elon Musk, that we can have women who are possessed with unending resentment for reality, for value itself, so that they can sit and say the opposite of the truth behind a microphone. This is a form of psychopathology that's going to have to be bridged for the continuation of the species. And also just from a humanitarian standpoint, I mean, these women are suffering. They wake up and the first thing that they tell themselves is a lie. The last thing that they tell themselves is a lie before they go to bed. And every single thing they tell themselves about the world in between those things is also a perverse lie. This is the reason why women between the ages of 40 and 50 who are single and childless account for the highest number of people on antidepressants, because when you lie to yourself constantly, you get anxious, you get anxiety, and women like this are that exact demographic.
more off-putting than Peter Thiel.
I cannot imagine it.
Oh my gosh, more off-putting than another competent man? The narcissism here is insane. These women have created nothing, but they think they're better than these men. They think they're superior, and they think that because they call themselves a part of the left-wing ideology which grants them good person status. This is like the 1940s all over again, except instead of it being in Germany, it's destroyed leftists who are quite literally at war with reality itself.
Musk remained the largest shareholder in PayPal, however, which ended up translating to a $165 million windfall when eBay bought the site in 2002. He used that money to start a company called SpaceX.
Okay, so this is obviously the most impressive thing Elon Musk has ever done, because it's more impressive than any country has been able to accomplish with reusable rockets. Reusable rockets have revolutionized the space industry forever. It didn't exist beforehand. The space shuttle program, which my dad worked on, cost billions every single launch, and was not reusable because the external tank would fall into the ocean, the solid rocket boosters would fall into the ocean. They were not reusable at all. Whereas the first stage of Falcon gets reused. You talk to any person in aerospace, they say that without a doubt, whether or not they're fans of Elon Musk, that what he did with rockets is revolutionary.
Sounds like a souvenir boner pill sold in gas stations in Roswell, New Mexico.
From what I can
Sounds like a soup.
Dude, they wrote this down.
too. He used that money to start a company called SpaceX.
Sounds like a souvenir boner pill sold in gas stations in Roswell, New Mexico.
It's so cringe. This is actually like giving me a disease.
From what I can tell, it started with a desire to send people to Mars. Elon has always dreamed of sending people to Mars. Elon and early space ally Michael Griffin traveled...
It's really wretched and horrendous to see women who've created nothing and literally just resent competence and masculinity and reality to try to tear down a goal as noble as that. I mean, to try to tear down an aspiration to make humanity multiplanetary, it's one of the most evil things they could do, but because it's evil, that's the reason why they try to do it. It's
Russia together to try to convince some Russians to sell them some ICBMs so that Musk could pretend to invent rockets. But the Russians weren't interested.
Wow, these women have no idea what they're talking about at all. Like just no idea. ICBMs are not rockets. You can't buy an ICBM. If you could get an ICBM, it doesn't mean that you have a rocket. Getting to orbit is insanely hard. But again, to people like this, and whoever, the type of freak shows that would watch this, in order to inject themselves with their daily anti-reality propaganda or whatever, reality is not important to them. This is crazy.
Because Elon was not an astronaut, nor did he possess any particular expertise about space. He was just a guy who liked space a lot. Undaunted, Musk...
No, he was a genius with hundreds of millions of dollars who possessed the talents and the work ethics of nobody else objectively, because nobody else has done what he's done.
Used his PayPal money to hire a bunch of people who did know what they were doing space-wise, and the company SpaceX blasted off.
Michael Griffin, that name sounds familiar.
That's because Griffin would go on to be a BFD at NASA, overseeing private partnership programs, including something called the Commercial Orbital Transportation Services, or COTS program. The program was designed to enlist private companies in transporting people and supplies to and from the International Space Station.
Wow, they're so destroyed.
Under Griffin, only 2 private companies were selected for the program. One of them was SpaceX, and thus began a long and fruitful career of SpaceX feeding from the prolific teat of Uncle Sam.
I mean, I think they should be sued for this, because at this point it is slander. I've never encountered like pure slander like this. I think this is actually kind of historic for YouTube. 35,000 views in 6 hours. I mean, it is just slander. This is just literally saying the opposite of reality. Elon Musk did not feed off the federal government. The federal government fed off of him. The federal government made money on Elon because he provided a service that no one else could provide, literally. When you're awarded a contract for providing a service, that's you providing a service for money. Whereas these women have created nothing in their entire lives.
SpaceX was awarded a $396 million contract from NASA. Meanwhile, SpaceX didn't even have a rocket that worked. Its Falcon 1
That's not correct. After their fourth launch, they did have a rocket that made it to orbit. So yeah, just objectively wrong. That's the reason they were able to get the first contract. And they've gotten subsequent contracts with NASA because they have rockets that not only worked, but performed in a way that was revolutionary to any other rocket that was ever created in the history of the planet. So yeah.
Program was
very interesting. Very interesting. There's destroyed female psyches walking around who have to tell themselves the opposite of the truth constantly.
Ass, unless you think a rocket that explodes can still be counted as a success. Its first 3 launches between 2000.
This is not correct. Multiple successful launches. That's the reason why they got the contract.
2006 and 2008 failed, putting the company on the brink of bankruptcy at the same time as Tesla and Musk himself.
These women wake up thinking to themselves, we have to slander objective masculine impressiveness. The reason for that is because objective reality obliterates them.
2008. But then SpaceX got it on the 4th try, and as a prize for his company's one successful launch, Elon was given a $1.6 billion NASA contract that December. And it all blew up from there, both literally and figuratively.
Aaron, I think that when a SpaceX rocket explodes, it's called a rapid unscheduled disassembly when conscious uncoupling goes to space.
And we shouldn't downplay the fact that the company has seen some success.
This is so perverse. I'm witnessing mental illness in front of me right here, guys. You are witnessing mental illness. I'm sort of getting sick and nauseous just seeing their deformed psyches, because this is broken femininity. These are destroyed women. They are at odds with objective truth in every aspect of reality.
And progress in space exploration is by definition messy. But Elon is not making the rockets. He's not an engineer. He's simply the guy who benefits the most financially from the work of people who are building the rockets.
Yeah, so you see the denial of competence hierarchies, the insistence that there's only such thing as power disparities. So we know that they're socialists. That's unsurprising considering that they've created no value in their entire lives. And they find the representation of competence and displays of ability to be oppression. This is your quintessential socialist. This is your quintessential communist. But you're seeing it birthed from the psyche of a broken woman.
Satellites, while rage tweeting about how NPR shouldn't get government money. Since 2020, at least 5 of SpaceX's attempts to launch its Starship into space have ended with the experimental aircraft.
They're so narcissistic. They're so broken. I mean, look, she looks like a gremlin over there.
SpaceX is now worth more than $36 billion, though, having received $15.3 billion in government contracts. All this time, Elon won't stop yammering about sending people to Mars, but SpaceX has yet to demonstrate that they're even capable of sending people to the moon, which is a lot closer.
Easier.
NASA's plan has been...
Wow. Okay, this is definitely going to make some waves, right? Because I've never seen anything even like this remotely. These women who've created nothing just said that sending people to the moon is easy. They're denying objective reality, saying that he can't send people to the moon, which he already has the capability to send Starship to the moon, and Starship can carry people. So, I mean, they've literally created nothing. These women have created nothing and are displaying maybe the greatest amount of narcissism I've ever seen. And I've watched interrogation tapes of, serial murderers. It doesn't even look like this.
$0.3 billion in government contracts has yet to demonstrate even capable of sending people to the moon, which is a lot closer.
Easier.
Degenerate woman calling going to the moon easy. The richest, most powerful government in the world with the most amount of talent used all of its might and desire to reach the moon. And still, it was considered a miracle that it happened. This degenerate woman who's created nothing, who just hates objective reality, said that it's easy. Look how broken they are, dude.
And we also have...
Look how literally broken they are.
Guess which company was one of 2 to win government contracts to build these Starlink satellites?
I'm gonna say space.
Existing as these type of women must be constantly frustrating, because you can't look at reality in objective, rational parameters. Everything must be constantly confusing. And when you view the world in a low-resolution format of power disparities purely, you have such a stunted, perverted view of reality that existence itself is challenging because your worldview is so inadequate. There's no formulation of competence. There's no formulation of reciprocity. There's no formulation of just authority stemming from competence. There's only power disparity. So when these women look at a competent man doing anything, they think this is oppression because he oppressed people to get here, and also his embodiment of reality is oppression against me because it's reminding me that objective reality exists.
Correct. And we also have Starlink's and by extension Musk's involvement in the Ukrainian defense against the Russian invasion launched in early 2022.
They just write negative headlines against Elon Musk. This is not journalism.
Talk about Tesla.
This is just female psychopathology purely.
Tesla, the preferred car of some of the biggest assholes you know.
The company was founded in...
Okay, this is very interesting because apparently owning a Tesla makes you an asshole according to this gray-haired 65-year-old leftist.
2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning.
No, Tesla wasn't created by those guys. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even called Tesla at the time. It was a shell company. They had no product. They had no employees. They didn't even have a design. Elon came in and made all that happen. And that's been expounded upon at length on many podcasts with, at this point, over billions of views. So I don't need to do that. But it's interesting, though, because they obviously took time to research what happened. They discovered the truth, and then they said the opposite of the truth.
Into early Tesla and became chairman of the company's
They want to
board.
make the world
And
in the image of their
immediately
degenerate femininity. That's what this is. I mean, you see the desperation in their eyes. That you see the desperation in these anti-truths that they continue to spout. It's kind of causing me a headache, to be honest, just listening to somebody say the opposite of reality repeatedly. They want to make the world in the image of their insanity. In fact, they're desperate to do it because it means then they won't be held accountable. They won't face people saying you're objectively wrong according to objective standards of reality. And as degenerate, destroyed women, they're constantly being bludgeoned, bullied, reminded that they're wrong by objective reality from people using rationality, logic, reason, referencing facts. Oh, facts are really destructive to the feminine psyche.
Started taking credit for things. Eberhard and Tarpenning came up with the ideas, designed the actual cars, got all the companies...
No, they didn't. They literally didn't design it. They were kicked out of Tesla because they created no value. They created nothing.
...ducks in a row to revolutionize the electric car market, and then...
What do you mean, to revolutionize the car market? What do you exactly mean by that? You mean building the infrastructure? Elon did that. You mean building the assembly lines? Elon did that. You mean creating all of the design and assembly? Elon did that. They literally had to remake the entire aspect of the car. But what's interesting is none of that's even controversial. This is like the held position by 99% of people, including liberals. They know this because Elon's lore is so famous. But these women are saying the opposite of reality to try to take away credibility from him because his masculine competence is so enraging.
As thanks, in 2007, Musk ran both of them out of the company and started calling himself the founder of Tesla.
Kind of like an invasive species bird who pushes the eggs out of other birds' nests to lay their own.
Wow, this is like 1940s type stuff from Germany.
Indeed, and then says you invented eggs.
Eggs, they're mine. I did it.
In 2008, Musk was fourth.
Yeah. It's psychopathology. They're psychopaths. They're narcissists. They're pure evil. They're degenerately feminine. All of this is going to be formulated into a future understanding of the destroyed psyches that a large portion of the population has in this century. Just like we have a formulated conceptualization of the mental errors committed by people from last century. But I think this is probably the most damaging and humiliating set of errors because they've been corrected the entire way and it's all been documented. Because while you have destroyed women saying the opposite of the truth, you have ultra competent men embodying reality in every way conceivable, whether that be finances, creating value, being impressive, being physically in shape, building the world, fighting, being attractive to supermodels who are basically a different species than these, old, ugly women. So it's a lot more surreal, in a sense, this disconnection from reality than the disconnection from reality we witnessed in Germany in the 1940s. Because there wasn't really a massive correction apparatus going on for the Germans. But here we have people embodying reality in front of these people constantly, and they still deny reality. They're still at war with truth. That's going to be very interesting to see in the future.
First to step down as chairman of the board of Tesla after falsely promising via tweet Natch that he had funding secured to take Tesla private at $420 per share.
We know that women that look like that don't understand what jokes are, so whatever.
He agreed to have a social media minder approve his tweets before sending them.
How'd that go?
Elon had a wild summer. That July, Elon had offered to help the
Listen to the cackling of that witch.
approve his tweets.
By the way, Elon did not have anyone approve his tweets. He confirmed that in multiple interviews.
Before sending them.
How'd that go?
Elon had a wild summer.
The psychopathology of resentment that creates creatures like this must be understood. This is a large purpose of my channel, so that people understand the architecture of this resentment so that they don't end up like this and so that they can correct it and confront it, like I'm doing, but also in person.
That July, and near Norhead, his kids, Vernon Unsworth, insulted Musk's silly little idea, saying in a TV interview that Musk could stick his imaginary submarine up. Insulted.
You know that they feel judged constantly. They just referred to a design by Elon Musk as a silly little idea, when they themselves are 50 IQ points below him, have created no value in their entire lives, and are obviously constantly reminded by the existence of masculine billionaires who've created value. They conversely have created nothing. They feel judged by this, and so they're expressing their insecurity. It's really interesting they put this on the internet, like for everyone to see.
Stick his imaginary submarine up his ass. Musk responded by tweeting that Unsworth, who again had just saved a kid's soccer team from cave death, that pedo guy was a me neither. Musk ended up prevailing in that suit, but not before wasting a bunch of his time and ours. But back to Tesla. The company has been in the news for its...
See, they formulated it in terms of like an Elon loss there, but he didn't lose, he won. So again, just a denial of reality.
Biggest layoffs ever. 14,000 people, or 10% of its workforce.
Laying off people is a tactic. You hire people when you need them to solve a problem. You fire them when you don't need them. This is how successful companies always operated. Apple's done this. Everyone's done this. But women who've created no value don't understand that. So they think that laying people off is somehow bad. Laying people off is the correct economic decision and a very good decision if you don't need them, because then you're just wasting money.
That's a stupid amount of money. Isn't General Motors only worth like 50 billion?
Yeah, if Tesla is an auto manufacturer, its value has a long way to fall.
Right. Complaining about the objective value as determined by the free market, which again is just a reminder of the oppressive masculine systems of competence and objectivity with all those numbers and math being done to calculate stock prices. I mean, really what should define the value of a company is the degenerate, resentful feelings of a psychopathic, mentally destroyed female.
It's no secret Tesla is shitty to its workers, fighting unionization.
Elon Musk and his companies are ranked among the #1 and #2 most desired places to work on the planet. People are lining up around the world to work at Tesla and SpaceX. And having visited SpaceX, I can see why. But there they just lied, and that's libel. So they could be sued for that. I think that because this video is so insane and so absurd, something like that may come of this. I'm not sure. I've never seen something quite so like distilled in its pure hatred for truth like this.
Efforts here and over being CEO. Like, how do you find the time, my dude? There have been tens of...
He's not like you. That's the answer.
Things as minor as poor quality builds.
Teslas are ranked as the #1 highest quality vehicle on the market by numerous sources not owned by Tesla. The reality denial never stops, guys. Teslas are also selling out and have been selling out literally constantly. The company is valued at more than the entire rest of the automotive industry combined. You're witnessing a female psychopathology.
To serious issues like sudden uncontrollable acceleration. Don't want that in a car. Faulty braking. That's not good either.
This is like the people that don't understand per capita. Honda, Toyota, Chrysler. Other car companies experience same and worse problems in much greater volumes. But the female psyche doesn't understand the statistical distributions. They don't really think in terms of coherence or logic. So people like that don't really understand what I'm saying there. I know you probably understand if you're watching this.
Range issues that the company itself has suppressed. An operating system that can be hacked and controlled by outside entities.
Wrong. Literally false. It's not hackable. It's never been hacked. Quite literally incorrect.
Carnival ride, to one tragic story of a Tesla reversing into a retaining pond with its driver trapped inside and first responders unable to break in as the woman drowned. That woman, by the way, was Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law, and that just happened this year.
Jesus Christ.
You don't want a car to do that.
No, it sounds like they're put together like carnival rides.
Now I've been saying that Elon isn't the one who's actually making the cars.
This woman in the yellow is a demon. Like, look at her.
Jesus Christ.
She's gleeful at the fact that a woman died in a Tesla. Is really, really messed up.
Christ.
You don't want a car to do that.
No, it sounds like they're put together like carnival rides.
Again, the highest build quality in existence. Literally drown in Hondas and Toyotas every single year. They're not talking about those, though. Teslas are the safest car on the market.
Now I've been saying that Elon isn't the one who's actually making the cars because he's not a real engineer, and that's true, but...
Elon is the most competent, to be clear, the most competent engineer on the face of the planet. In fact, he's more competent than any other engineer that works at his companies. And again, my connections to those companies can totally confirm this. Whenever his top engineers talk to him about a problem, he always finds a solution faster than they do. He just quite literally has an IQ that's like 160. And a brain that's been trained to think in terms of physics first principles, which is extremely valuable to an engineering mindset. What's fascinating is he's not just a singularly world-class engineer at just aerospace or just car manufacturing, but also computer programming. He's able to lead the computer programmers, the coders at X when he fired them. He was able to know who's valuable and who's not valuable. He fired 80% of the staff, and then the productivity went up. I mean, he's just the most competent man in the world. Capitalism definitely says so. 99% of people say so, but it's not about proving them wrong, because what they're saying is self-evidently absurd. It's about understanding why they're saying the opposite of the truth here. Again, they're angry because they're judged in comparison, and that they're reminded objective reality exists. Two untenable things to them.
Public image.
In this woman's mind, she wants to believe she's as competent as Elon Musk. She wants to believe that. She wants to demonize and bastardize every single thing he's created, saying that she could have done the same thing. Oh, we're going to make excuses for why he created what he did. That's literally insanity. That is reality now. That is a broken mind.
The price of the company's stock so much.
Exactly. The stock market is mostly fueled by wishes and hopes and dreams. And if people don't believe in Elon, they don't believe in Tesla. If Elon is a scam, then Tesla is a scam. And Elon is real scammy.
Scammy.
Public disasters continue to make Teslas look more and more like clown cars. Back in December 20...
Most desired car on the market, safest car on the market, highest performance car for price on the market, most revolutionary car since the Model T, a symbol of status, technological innovation. But the women have to say the opposite of the truth. This is really weird. This is really weird.
Consumers pay for and beta test a product that isn't actually ready for market. The Cybertruck is what you might call a gender-affirming car for men who want to prove to the world that they have $100,000 to throw away.
The car doesn't cost $100,000. It costs $61,000. But here we're going to see the archetypal demonization of masculinity again. Unsurprisingly, they are both destroyed women. So, and masculinity being the apparatus that would save them from this fate of permanent anxiety and reality hatred. It's unsurprising that they formulate the antagonistic relationship they have with reality, with masculinity.
On the world's shittiest vehicle. Tesla
it's literally, they just call the most desired, most impressive, highest performance, objectively #1 vehicle in the world the shittiest vehicle. You see the inversion of reality there? That's like saying the earth is flat, right? That's just, I mean, look, I could pull up right now just a random car. Like, this car is also a car, and it is objectively worse than the Cybertruck. Look, here's a Honda Civic. This is another objectively worse car. Disproving them is actually that easy, but they don't care because their minds have been ravaged.
Recently announced that they are halting production of the electric Ford Pinto of our times. Good night, sweet prince.
And even at its new...
It's so weird. We have women sitting in a room demonizing the efforts of the most successful man on the planet feverishly. They're desperate. We have destroyed old, single, resentful women sitting in a room desperately demonizing objective masculine competence. They're spending their time doing this because they are at such war with reality. This is the reason why I'm doing this. So that we can recognize the existential threat to civilization that is being birthed out of the cesspool of pure resentment, anger, and hatred for reality, objective reality.
All of this has meant that Tesla's market share has diminished and its share price has tanked as its sales and production.
Tesla's share price went up 7% a week and a half ago, adding $80 billion to their market cap in a single day. Oh, but Tesla's tanking.
Outlook has
Go full anti-free speech mode. This is we'll conclude the video with this.
girl bossed a little too hard. Must yet to see a single piece of reported media.
Is there going to be another demonization of masculinity? Okay.
Is paying, but Elon girl bossed a little too hard when he bought Twitter.
It really has been...
Right. Okay, so the perversion and subversion of masculinity is essential, of course, because masculinity reminds them of the objective reality which judges them brutally.
Something to watch the whole world get wise to his bullshit at the same time.
Enough ink has been spilled about Musk.
X is performing at all-time highs, but in their total narcissism and mentally ravaged state, I'm not sure if they can really distinguish between their cat-owning, wine-sipping, few friends in the entire world, which might be why they're humiliating themselves to this extent that we're seeing here.
Musk's disastrous takeover of Twitter.
It was literally the opposite of disastrous. Productivity went through the roof. He fired 80% of the staff. Profits went up. User minutes are at an all-time high. It is the #1 most it is literally the #1 most popular app in the world on the planet. Let me say that again. These destroyed, ravaged psyches just said that it was a disastrous takeover. X is now the most popular app, the most used app in the world.
It's a flawed but functional town square, now the social media equivalent of a...
Right. It's flawed because people who you disagree with can call you out like I'm going to post this on Twitter. This is going to be great.
abandoned blockbuster video that has been taken over by flea-infested raccoons. So let's not...
Right. Oh, the people that hold you accountable and disagree with you are flea-infested raccoons. Right. Okay, good.
Get bogged down by the details. What's most important...
Yeah, this is 1940s style demonization and total narcissism, complete mental brokenness. And it's probably more dangerous than what the world faced in the 1940s, because again, these people are narcissistic and mentally broken and evil, while they're being surrounded by people who are telling them that they're evil, that they're wrong, that are saying, "Look, you're making no sense. This is, you're ill. You're not well." And they still persevere because they have to be victims in order to be good people.
Important is that thanks to his pathological desire to force people to like him,
I can't believe this woman said the word pathological with a straight face.
Elon's ineptitude has been on full display, calling into question his genius and business acumen.
No, it has not. Literally nobody has called into question his genius besides you. But you know that he's a genius, which is the reason you're making this video. So Elon is now more popular than he ever was before. He now has more followers than he ever had before. So we can measure popularity in terms of literal numbers. But again, I understand numbers are oppressive constructs to you of the patriarchy or whatever.
In the rest of his portfolio, the acquisition of Twitter was characterized by drama and erratic behavior by Musk. In 2022, he first...
Drama and erratic behavior by Musk? What about the board of Twitter saying, no, you can't buy us, and then saying, no, you have to buy us, and in fact, we're going to sue you, so you have to buy us. Incredible.
First tried a hostile takeover of the company before winning the board's approval. But then, when he realized...
No. Just factually wrong, but that's not surprising anymore. I just told you what happened.
$44 billion he'd offered to pay was way too much for a company that wasn't great at making money. He tried to back out. The board threatened to sue, but Musk relented and financed the deal with some creative leveraging. Thus his overall wealth down. Elon, it turns out, is not good at running Twitter. He fired or chased away 80%.
Elon is objectively better at running Twitter than any other person who's ever run Twitter, because user minutes are at an all-time high, #1 app, etc. Need I go on? He fired 80% of the staff. Productivity went up, even though 80% of the staff were gone. He got rid of all the useless censorship people and just invested in Asian guys who could program well. Yeah, I mean, it's self-evident. The reason why they're upset is because the censorship apparatus was removed. They're probably not going to mention the Twitter files. Oh, who cares that the federal government was colluding with X to censor people individuals who they disagreed with? Just, the left is openly pro-tyranny on top of everything else you're seeing here. This is such a crystallized example of utter, mental brokenness. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. I've seen probably over 10,000 hours of YouTube footage. I've never seen anything like this before.
Percent of the staff, likely violating several labor laws in doing so. He reinstated several accounts that had been banned for hate speech, relaxed rules around anti-trans speech and COVID-19 misinformation, gave a hand...
Right. We still probably think, these women still probably think that COVID was handled well. They probably think that we should have had vaccine passports. Again, making the world in the image of the leftist authoritarian state, which again is marked by a feminine temperament and low verbal IQ. By what? Science. Oh, that's objective? Oh, it's oppression then.
A handful of doofus reporters access to internal Twitter files, plopped his cottage cheese ass into a desk chair, and tweeted as hard as he possibly could. And who can forget the blue checkmark fiasco? Blue verification checkmarks were long viewed as a class signifier in old Twitter, which made a lot of people wearing wraparound sunglasses in their user picture angry. So Elon got rid of the blue.
Whoa, okay, so demonizing basically white men there. Okay, right? Because white men cannot have high status. They must be low class. Oh man, this is really, really, truly purely despicable.
Checks. The problem is that the checks also verified that people on the site were who they said they were, and that so-called official accounts were not imposters.
To have a verified account, you have to provide an ID. So these women are, again, objectively wrong.
Elon tried to get Twitter users to pay $8 for the check marks, and people were like, fuck that, you clown. So the only people who had blue checks were suspiciously Elon fanboys and conservative super tweeters who would hassle anybody who complained about the new verification.
This narrative has completely failed. The people with blue check marks on X have a massive advantage over the people who don't, because you can create tweets where only blue checks can reply. Differentiation that the left has tried to demonize, but they've lost this fight. So they tried to make it again about an intersectionalist identity where, we can be good people if we don't have the blue check because it means that we're resisting the patriarchy or whatever. It completely fell on its face.
System of the world's richest men.
I am shocked that trying to use bullying as a chief sales technique for Twitter's verification program was ineffective.
Oh, by the way, it was completely effective. They generated hundreds of millions of dollars a month by doing this. And again, user minutes are at an all-time high. Owning these women is actually really, really easy. You don't even need to have the depth of understanding that I do.
Twitter put on display how desperate Elon was to have people like him, despite his fundamental unlikability. In February,
Elon is the most liked man on the face of the planet. I mean, it's so easy to break them because they don't value truth. That's really what it comes down to. According to numbers, followers, likes, Elon is literally the most liked person on the face of the planet. You are very unliked, not just by people around you who view you as a freak, rightfully so, but reality itself judges you as being wrong constantly. This enrages them. They're confessing their insecurity.
Elon has tried to turn Twitter into a landing pad for media personalities who had been canceled or, in normal English, faced consequences as a result of fucking up.
Right. There it is. They can't. Yeah, there it is. They admit they're evil. They admit they can't acknowledge that tyranny is wrong. I think that probably is going to sum it up.
He snatched up Tucker Carlson after Tucker's ouster from Fox News with promises that Tucker could create Twitter-exclusive content, but the site didn't have the technology to support.
What's funny is as these women get bullied for saying the opposite of the truth, like constantly, as they're definitely going to be, they're going to pretend as though they are victims as a result of facing objective accountability because they don't believe in the individual identity. If you don't believe in the individual identity, you can't take personal accountability because you, as an individual, don't exist. And so they're going to call themselves victims, which makes them good people, which then makes them, in their mind, superior to any person who criticizes them. And also, the concept of criticizing them doesn't exist because if you're already part of the right ideology, there's nothing to criticize because rationality, logic, reason don't exist. Those things have been thrown out in the postmodern aspect of postmodern neo-Marxism.
The Lemon was also invited to Elon's Tiki Torch rally.
These women are deeply triggered by people like me who hold them accountable, by the way, because I don't mind doing it. It's very, very easy.
Go yourself. Go yourself. Is that clear?
It's funny, he didn't used to seem as unhinged as he does now.
Bro, this is too funny. This is crazy. Okay, we got to get these women some psychologists. We got to get them. I won't say husbands because we can't really condemn men to a fate like that. But the fact that these creatures sat down and decided to do this to themselves, decided to provide us all a formula, a confirmed formula for the true nature of degenerate femininity, of pure anti-reality and hatred for objective masculinity, it's unending. This is nuts, bro. We have to look at this. There's a lot of destroyed, like, you can tell that a lot of destroyed women watch this. I mean, it's filled with so many lies. It's difficult for me to listen to because it feels like my IQ is dropping as I listen to people say the opposite of the truth. But that means that there are people that are listening to this constantly, and as these women tell themselves lies every single day, as I said before, the opposite of the truth, they are incoherent, nihilistic, objectively incorrect, not tethered to any studied science at all. They experience this cognitive dissonance, which basically wrecks their psyches. It ravages them. It robs them of the ability to think cogently. And that's what you're seeing here is people admitting that they listen to this and are equally mentally destroyed, which is very sad. There are people like this, and obviously there's always going to be losers. There's always going to be freaks and rejects. And without them, people like me wouldn't, shine so brightly. But it's unfortunate from a humanitarian standpoint. Being so mentally broken, you associate any progress, any impressiveness, any objective greatness or talent, merit or masculine greatness with oppression and depravity while you yourself are a loser. That's maybe the worst fate a person could have in terms of living their life. Because you rob yourself of all beauty, you rob yourself of all truth, and you live constantly anxious, enraged, and resentful. And as we know from psychology, an objectively studied domain, the most miserable people on the most antidepressants are liberal single women who have had their psyches taken advantage of and hijacked by this woke mind virus. I know that they're deleting a lot of comments of people calling them out, which, is not surprising. YouTube is obviously platforming this and censoring my video probably, so I'm going to post this on X as well. But if you're watching this, subscribe and like the video. If you've made it to the end of this video, bro, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start editing this right away. This was a crazy one. I'm so glad I came across this. I've never seen a video quite as just blatantly broken, just displaying total mental brokenness like this one. This kind of degenerate female psychopathology is an existential threat to civilization, and the reason why it is now more important than ever in my generation for young men to become objectively impressive and learn from men who transcend this broken mental state, like that guy or like Elon Musk. Because society is not going to be made in the image of this satanic, anti-reality, resentfully psychopathic and narcissistic death cult that these women occupy.
Imagine you're in bed and Top G walks into your room, grabs you by your hair, looks you dead in the eye, and tells you you're a fucking failure. Huh? You're a fucking failure! Stop!
Fucking brokey, a wagey, a peon, a peasant, a nobody.